Hey, what's up, Super Simps, and welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a simply nailogical podcast.
Hello.
Today's episode is brought to you by Oats Overnight.
My oats. Sorry.
You may have heard that they have a new flavor, a collaboration with the one and only Simply Nailogical. It's called Mint Chocolate Chip Cookie. We might be biased, but it's probably their best, most delicious flavor.
We're not biased. It is objectively the best flavor ever. Oh, there you go, Minty.
Big thank you to the team at Oats Overnight. Everything went really smoothly this weekend. Mm-hmm. Thank you to all you guys who checked it out. We've already sold out of the limited edition branded blender bottle.
Yeah. But not the oats. So the oats are still available. You can still get my custom flavor mint chocolate chip cookie. So good. You can still get them now on the website. We'll put it down below. oatsovernight.com/simply. And you just get a different cup now is all that means.
That's right. But the flavor's still there. It's still delicious.
There. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what you guys think about it.
Yeah, that was so fun coming up with an oats collab.
Do you want to tell people like how long this has been in the works at all, or talk about the background to it at all? I know you talked about it a little bit in the video, but...
Yeah, sure. And I think people have kind of wondered, like, how did this come about? You're the nail polish girl. Like, what? So if you guys have been listening to our podcast for some time, like you'll remember that towards the beginning, we had already started doing like sponsorships for Oats Overnight. Mm-hmm. But even before our podcast, I already enjoyed Oats Overnight. Like they'd reached out to me a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago
over
total.
A year ago you made that video about making
about
overnight
oats, and it was after that
they reached out to us because I guess their social media got flooded with comments about you, so they just sort of reached out to say hi, asked if you wanted to try the product. That led to us doing ad reads on this podcast when we first started back in the spring or summer, because we just genuinely liked the product too, right?
Yeah.
And then very quickly the conversation turned into like, hey, maybe there's an opportunity to do something here.
And then I kind of noticed, like, you guys don't have a mint chocolate type flavor. Like, what's going on here? Because I've always told my audience, and I've always loved making my own mint chocolate chip cookie kind of mix oats. I know you guys have known about that and asked for my recipe. And as I said in my Simply video, you don't need the recipe now because it's basically this, except this is much easier because you just open the pack, dump it in, and have it the next morning. You don't have to mix anything except milk.
Yeah, it's too bad. Our plan was to hopefully go down to their oat factory at some point. We still would like to, but just didn't make sense right now. So it was a lot of emails and meetings and samples of flavors being shipped to us here in Canada.
Like mid last year, they were sending us different flavors, and then there was different variants or options or tweaks, like more cocoa powder here or less there. And so we made a few tweaks, but they're the experts at making food, right? Not us.
Yes.
So I didn't have as much feedback to give than I do on like a holo taco prototype, for example, where I just have that knowledge base. For me here, it was just like, what's in it? Is it good? Does it taste good?
Yeah.
But it was super fun to do this. And I know it's kind of maybe a bit risky to do a branded collaboration that's outside of what people expect from you. So like no one really knows me as like, I don't know, a breakfast salesperson, an outfluencer. But it worked out so well. I'm so happy to see you guys love it and you're really excited. And I'm excited for you guys to eat it. Eat the oats.
This might be you're a pioneer. This might be the first oat sponsorship.
I am the world's first oatfluencer.
Again, if you want to check that out, it's oatsovernight.com/simply. Thank you, Oats.
Thank you, Oats.
Thank you,
Thank
Oats.
you, Oats.
All right, this isn't the Oat podcast. Today
no, but it could have been.
We could just talk for an hour about oats. Would you rather do that?
Yeah.
We asked people what their assumptions are about us. This is a meme. You see this sort of thing on Instagram a lot. Like, it's basically another way of doing a Q&A. But we thought it might be more interesting to do it with the podcast audience and get some different sort of questions that way.
So I've done this once on my Simply Nailogical channel, maybe 2 years ago. But in that kind of video, all my answers are quick cut, kind of jokey, and maybe I just like gloss over some of them because that's just the nature of, that kind of YouTube content.
So a chance to have a more real conversation about it.
For sure.
All right, let's just jump right into it.
I'm scared. Ben prepared these questions.
All right, first one from Kelsey Paul. New episode of SimplyPodLogical brought to you by Simply times Overnight Oats.
How'd you know?
Thank you, in case we forgot. I assume you both don't like being noticed in public when you're doing regular errands. Well, Cristine doesn't do regular errands. She doesn't
I don't
leave the
go in
house.
public, actually.
It's been a long time since you...
I just go to the doctor's, which just sounds really sad, but
Yeah.
like that's really the only place I've been going lately.
Yeah, I've been taking you to different allergy tests and stuff like that. Yeah. Do you get recognized in those offices? Is that weird?
I did recently. The rheumatologist doctor knew who I was.
Yeah.
Like, they're not weird about it. They're just like, are you Simply
They
now?"
said something?
Yeah,
They didn't
she
just
said
give you a
that.
weird look?
No,
Like,
she said that. And then she's like, oh, okay. She just, sometimes when you see someone you think you know, you just want to ask them to confirm. And it's not like out of creepiness or being rude. You're just like, am I
Do I
seeing
know
thing?
you
Like,
from
do I know?
somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how she handled it.
Well, maybe you get better care if you tell them, like, I'm kind of
I
a
don't
big
think
deal on the internet.
She didn't, yeah.
Please fix me. I'll say just when it does happen, I don't mind it. I don't think you mind it. Like, I'll still get us groceries. I don't leave the house much either, but, like, I'll be the one to do the essential traveling that needs to be done. And the only thing I'll say is sometimes I feel a little bit of pressure. Like, if I notice, like, a cashier notice me and know who I am, sometimes I feel pressure like, oh, like, am I supposed to be, like, funny and engaging when really, like, if I was just standing in line trying to buy, like, oat milk, I wouldn't be, like, thinking I need to entertain the cashier, right? Sometimes I feel like there's a little bit of pressure to, like,
To be
this might be
funny.
kind of a moment for them. And, like, if you're just, like, silent and quiet and boring, they might just be, like, kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. And that's why I might have been weird when I've met people.
That explains it.
But I think generally, like, I love when people have come up to me in the pre-COVID era. I always happy to take pictures. But generally speaking, I guess I am an anxious person, so it's not my favorite thing to do to go out and get noticed. Like, I definitely don't go outside to get noticed.
All right. Next one from Haley Williams 42. I assume you drive expensive luxury cars.
Just my 7 Ferraris.
That's right. You drive Lambos with the doors up, right?
Bentleys.
That used to be the thing, and we'd make fun of this, right? Like, a lot of YouTubers, as soon as they started making any amount of money, would go out and buy, like, a $200,000 car.
Was
even
it a
if they,
business
like,
expense?
Don't drive. Maybe if it's a lease, there's a way of trying to
If they
justify it.
vlog,
I don't really think
buying
so.
my Ferrari.
Or buying a car for someone. Can you write that off?
Yeah, maybe.
If you buy a car for a stranger, and it's not like a family member or someone, you know, on arm's length. Anyway, I'm not an accountant. Never mind. Ignore that part. I mean, I don't think we're going to say, like, the exact make and model of car we drive. I would say, like, we don't have some stupid luxury car. But we're also not driving, like, the cheapest cars available, right?
Yeah, Ben and I each have one car. I don't have a fleet of Lambos or Ferraris or anything that I think people associate with the YouTubers' cars. I don't have a Tesla. But, you know, we've upgraded our cars. I no longer have my Mazda 3 that was rusting.
Yeah, that car was falling
Remember that?
apart.
That's falling apart, yeah.
You have a great clip of that. What was the video? You're
Painting my nails in my car.
Oh, okay. But there was
Yeah.
some, like, intro where, like, you're holding a bag.
Well,
and
I was making fun of YouTubers who do like the check out my new car. So I was just
Yeah.
standing in front of my car that was rusting in the middle of winter, and I'm
Like
like
the-
posing on the hood,
the check engine lights on and all
checking
that.
the rust in the wheel wells. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was no longer safe after some time of driving that car, and it was just stupid. So I did buy a nicer, newer car. But remember, we also live in Canada where it snows for like 4 months of the year. So the idea of owning a Lambo or Ferrari or any of these high-end luxury cars just is not realistic for us. And I also don't know, like, I would be too scared to drive it anywhere. And I don't want to own a car that I'm too scared to take anywhere.
If you did want to spend, like, $200,000 on a car and you were
What would
the
it
kind of
be?
person who would maybe, I don't know, like, people buy those cars to either get noticed or because they want to drive them fast, right? Yeah, what would that car be?
Yeah, like I can appreciate, you know, the idea of having a dream car. I guess I really like the Audi R8. But I also know, like, am I going to use it
Would
that
you
often?
ever drive
Would
that?
I ever drive it? And maybe a few months of the year. But also, I haven't even driven my own car now for months.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's winter, and we just didn't even change like the snow tires on my car because we just go in Ben's car if we have somewhere to go. And we're just generally not traveling places. So
there you go.
Sorry,
that's not a very
there
exciting
will be no
answer.
car tour, but
All right, next one from Mrs. W. Vong. I assume one or both of you have quit your day jobs or have cut your hours significantly so you can manage and run a successful ongoing business, work on the podcast, create content, work out, and have a few minutes left in the day to relax. Seriously, how do you manage all of it?
do we have a few minutes to relax?
We don't relax that much. I don't think I've made this a secret. I took some time off at the start of the pandemic.
But not because of the pandemic. Right?
It was a coincidence, and it kind of threw my plans. Anyway, I haven't been at work for quite a few months now. I'm going to go back to work next month.
Is it next month?
Yeah, on a part-time basis. And I think moving forward, working part-time for the government is the way of making this work. I almost wish they could just give me a demotion too. So like I didn't have quite the same level of responsibility. Like could you just pay me a little less so I have a little bit less responsibility? How are you feeling, Chris? You've still been working.
I have still been working, and I've always get questions on my Snapchat. Are you still working for the government? And I think that's because people aren't seeing my office because we're not physically there.
Yeah.
So I am still working on a part-time basis at my same crime statistics job. Both of us have been part-time for a while now, though. Like we've reduced our hours. I guess like part-time is a weird word to use because we're still permanent employees, but we've reduced our hours. So that's kind of how it's looked at in the public sector anyways. But people think I've just like quit because there's no videos of my nails in the elevator, or there's no like me at my desk like taking weird snaps, or the fire alarm going off that I used to Snapchat. But yeah, we are working from home, and that seems to be the future for the time being, for now, for any government workers, at least where I am.
It seems pretty unlikely that people will be going back into the office at all in 2021. With like some very few exceptions of very essential things that have to be done in a workplace, maybe. Yeah,
and some people love that because maybe they've enjoyed staying home, not having to travel in the winter. Like that's been great for some people, not having to take the transit in a snowstorm. But for other people who have families at home or who run other things out of their house like me, it is very difficult personally. I would much rather be in my office, which is one of the main reasons I've said before that I really like my job, is because I like the switch of, doing my nail stuff and my silly videos at home and then going to a professional corporate office and putting in my analytical work. Now I don't have a professional corporate office. I'm just doing it at my desk. Yeah, it's full of nail polish.
Yeah, and I don't think you're alone in how challenging that's been, right? A lot of people have trouble. A lot of people don't want to work their job from their... As much as it sounds convenient to be able to work from home, I think a lot of people are finding that to be very challenging because they really associate their space with what they do.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think our attitude over time has also sort of changed on... Like, we're proud of the fact that we've maintained regular jobs. And especially for you, I think it's not lost on us that you've been a role model of someone who, can be goofy YouTuber, but also have the serious professional career. So there is a little pressure in that regard, I guess. Because it's really hard to juggle all of those things and give the right amount of attention to all those things.
Yeah.
So, like, in a perfect world... Like taking this year off from the government has been really great for me and has allowed us to catch up on a lot of stuff we should have been doing, just like on a personal level too.
And run this podcast.
And running a lot of things, right? And I guess we just didn't know how long internet stuff would last when this first sort of happened too. Like in a perfect world, we would be more focused on internet stuff now and, more focused on government serious career later on, maybe,
and kind of go back to it. I kind of see, always thought maybe it'd be the same pattern as people who go on maternity leave or have a number of kids, so they're kind of like take some time off, start their family, and then they go back to work. And that's kind of how I thought maybe my internet career and public sector work balance would play out. Like maybe I'd reduce my hours significantly, take a bit of time off, be at the height of my internet career, and then my internet career would kind of fade out. But it's been 6 years of internet career, five to 6 years. So it hasn't really happened the way I thought it was, which I guess is a good thing. Like, we are grateful. I am grateful that I'm still here on the internet and people still want to watch me. But it was just unpredictable, I guess. It's hard to say. And it is a lot of work. And I know for sure, and I can admit that it is not sustainable to, like, for the rest of my life, I'm saying. Like, for now, I can deal. But I'm 32 years old. I don't know how much longer I can continue to do multiple channels, all these promotions, Holo Taco, working on my government stuff part-time as well. Like, it's a lot. I don't want to let you guys think like it's no problem. I'm fine.
As much as we said, like, that example of, being able to do those multiple things is good, and you've been a role model in that sense. We also don't want to be a role model of just working yourself to death or overworking, and how, like, Western culture seems to, I think there's too much emphasis on just work and like hard work. And isn't it great when you see like an old person working? And I'm thinking just like no, like, you need a balance in your life. Life shouldn't be working 80 hours a week. Life should be a little bit about vacations too.
Maybe. Yes, Ben.
All right, that's a work in progress. Next question from Sarah Mahoney. I assume you will work for Statistics Canada until you're tired of being present on social media. Then you will retire from both and then forever be on vacation. I guess we just sort of touched on this, right? It's almost the opposite. It's if we could just devote more attention to internet stuff now, and I think we see more of a doing StatCan and government work
like
as still fulfilling and stuff we could do in our 30s or 40s, I guess.
How old are we? Like, what do you see yourself doing when you're 48?
I think I see myself on a beach.
Okay, Ben. But like, I'm probably not making, simply and illogical videos at my desk reacting to things when I'm 48. I mean, who knows? Like, I also don't want to say never. But I foresee myself just being a little more quiet and reverting back to the desk Cristine.
Oh, dear.
And maybe that's not just government work. Maybe it's more like Holo Taco brand stuff, but a bit more behind the scenes, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows? Like,
who knows?
We don't have to decide.
Yeah, we don't have to decide.
Yeah. And that's a liberating, that is the luxury we have. And the thing I feel the most fortunate in life due to the financial success from being on the internet is that when we do make these decisions, we know they're making them because we just get to decide what we want to do, not out of financial necessity.
Yeah, and not out of greed, just out of what we actually want.
Yeah. Next one from Chelsea. I assume you guys keep your financial incomes from your government jobs separate, but split the YouTube income evenly.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum. I don't know how much we want to get into this, but what I do want to say is, so like very early on when you started making money on the internet and I sort of helped you, like good advice to anyone who starts making money on the internet is like find an accountant and or a lawyer to help you figure out like how to set up your business and how you want to pay yourself and maybe pay other people who help you out with the business.
Paying taxes as a business.
How to pay taxes, what you can and can't write off. But I think it was really important to us early on that we set things up in a way where you never had to question. We really wanted to protect your interest. Simply and Illogical is your baby. It's your thing. I never wanted you to think that like I was in it for the money or anything. So things were set up in a way very much to protect you.
Yeah.
I am very well compensated by the business. We make a lot of decisions to pay ourselves an income just based off like what our expenses are that year or just what makes sense from a tax perspective too. But in a lot of ways, and maybe this is a good recommendation, like you don't want to have to think your partner has like a financial interest to stay in a relationship.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the important point here. And with respect to our other finances, like, yeah, it's the same as when we met. We both have our own bank accounts and our government income goes into our respective bank accounts.
Yeah, but that's like whatever works with you, right? Like I know couples who share a bank account and that makes sense for certain expenses and it's just whatever works for you,
Yeah.
right?
We have a joint account too, but we also have our solo
Sure.
accounts.
And we're not the type of people who are bickering over like I paid for the groceries.
We've literally never done that. And sometimes we'll be like, how come we never argue about money? Like it's weird, right?
It's the most common reason people argue
argue,
or divorce, I think, right? Yeah.
Because we're lucky.
We are lucky.
Or it's because you're not with me for the money, see?
Maybe not. Maybe just a little bit.
I bet.
Next one from Elizabeth. I get the vibes that Cristine uses an electric toothbrush and Ben uses a regular toothbrush. Confirm or deny, Cristine?
Deny.
Cristine, we both use. I tried using electric toothbrush
Yeah, I
for a while.
tried to. I couldn't do it.
Something, I don't like it.
It's just weird. I don't know. I'm not into it, but
Yeah, we got to call Cristine out though for if you saw her toothbrush, like
I showed it on Snapchat once. I can't even remember why. And all the comments were like, "Why do you chew your toothbrush?"
Yeah,
because I chew it.
why?
I don't know.
Who taught you how to brush your teeth?
Like I am brushing. Just for all those concerned, I'm brushing all the areas you're supposed to. But in the middle of brushing, I guess I'm chewing it. So the bristles will flare kind of out to the sides, and then I need to change my toothbrush more often.
Yeah.
I'm just really hungry.
You should eat more oats. All right, next one from Senna. I assume Ben worries that Cristine is overworking herself.
Do you worry about me?
Yes, I do. I do worry about that. Next question. SimplyPodLogical says,
What up, Simply?
They assume Cristine secretly wishes she could get a vacation. Is this true, Cristine? Have you been dreaming about vacation?
Not right now.
No.
I don't want to go anywhere. I mean, sometimes I fantasize about what would it be like if I just actually did nothing for next week.
What would that be like?
Because I just have no concept of doing that. And I fantasize about the idea of like, what would happen? And then, I think like, well, this person would be disappointed. This would fall through and this would fall apart. So then I'm like, yeah, okay, never mind.
Actually, yeah, we've argued about vacationing before. Obviously, this is a joke. People probably know this, but like, it's not that you don't want to go on a vacation. Mm-hmm. It's that your mindset is when I get back from having done nothing,
I have to do more.
There will just be more stuff I haven't done.
And my timelines will have advanced all of a sudden.
But you understand, if you look at your entire life that way, like there's always going to be stuff you could do. So you just never take a break?
But it's not that. We've had this same argument before.
This is us arguing.
If I go on vacation, sure, that'll be nice for the day or 3 or whatever, or a week. But then I come back and I have a week's worth of work I need to finish in a day. So like, why would I want to do that to myself?
Or you just give yourself more realistic expectations for how much work you can and should do.
But when you're your own boss, like in the YouTube sphere anyways, like I can't do that. But at work in the government.
What do you mean you can't do that?
Because I have all these things to do.
You can choose exactly, by being your own boss, you can exactly choose how much work you have to do.
I understand, but I guess we're getting to the root of it here. When you go on vacation, from an employer that gives you vacation time and you say, I'm taking the week off, your employer usually, if they're good, has to allocate those hours somehow and expect that you're not going to have workload submitted during that week, and timelines might be pushed back or adjusted accordingly, usually, right?
Okay. So you're just a bad supervisor
I'm a bad
to yourself.
Supervisor to myself.
All right, that's the root of the problem. All right, next one from Simply Novalogical. I assume Cristine likes hummus, but is repulsed by it because of the amount that Ben eats.
What are you talking about? I'm not on Team Hummus.
Well, that's the thing. We've had a lot of conversations about hummus and my love of hummus, but no one has ever stopped to ask you, Cristine, do you like hummus?
Well, if I admit that, then it looks like, I'm in contradiction with my own comments.
No, you can like hummus and still think
I'm joking.
I eat too much.
I like hummus, but I don't love it as much as Ben does.
Could we eat hummus together?
No.
It would be so romantic. All right, next one from Spinstein Colors. I assume that you don't ever have dumb, stupid fights, that you both are so well-spoken and level-headed on your podcast, it's hard to imagine you guys getting in a petty fight and name-calling.
What's name-calling? Have you ever,
You big dum-dum. You didn't close the fridge door.
I can't ever in my life think of a time where I've ever name called someone, like out of anger in a fight.
Anyone or in a relationship?
In a relationship.
Okay.
I can't think of it. Like, maybe you yell their name, but is that what you mean? No. Like, I can't imagine insulting someone, like, with bad words just to hurt them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe when I was 16 I did. Not sorry. I won't say never, but, like, from what I can remember, I've never resorted to that.
Also, when we first started dating, like every couple, we have disagreements on things. Mm-hmm. We have.
Tell us, Ben.
I can't think of a good example, but I guess what I would say is you, Cristine, being like a very problem solver minded person, like my inclination early on was to like, oh, like it's normal for us to sort of get heated about this and like talk about it in loud voices. And your response was always like immediately to just like talk about it in a super rational way, like problem solving way. And it's really disarming. So like, I'm not going to like sound like a crazy person if you're just like, how do we fix this? You're right. So, and I think that's the healthiest way of approaching disagreements in a relationship. But it's also not the worst thing to like kind of vent sometimes too, though.
I think we don't really argue. Like, you are correct. We don't get into petty fights, but we do have disagreements or we get annoyed with each other, obviously. Yeah. And one thing I can think of is I get annoyed with Ben when he is like, I'll finish editing a Simply YouTube video. I'll show it to him because I need someone to take a look before I post it on the internet. And he'll have comments for me, like, you know, reasonable ones.
That's why I'm watching it, right?
That's why you're watching it, to review it. But I'll have just been so sick of editing myself that I'll be in a bad mood and I'll like negatively react to whatever comments you have.
You take it personally if yeah. And that's why the living together and being a couple and working together and all these things adds up. And that's probably the biggest source of any tension in a relationship. I actually don't think
it's that, because we work together at StatCan, and we've even, like, one time we co-authored a paper together, and we've crossed paths at work, and I don't think either of us have any, like, there's no conflict there at all. It's weird. Like, we totally get along. But when we're at home doing the YouTube stuff and it's me making a video and I make a joke and Ben's telling me, like, that joke's not funny, you should take it out. That's different than like working on a paper together. Sure, like, there's no real issue or emotional attachment or like feelings of taking it personally. Like, just editing a paper. Yeah. But this is way different, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's probably the biggest source of conflict in a relationship.
Well, I don't know though. Last night you picked up tacos and
do you want to get into
you forgot half the order.
Okay, I forgot half the order, or the place I was picking up the food from forgot?
But it goes like this. So Ben comes home with half our order and I'm like, where's the other half? He's like, they didn't give it to me. I'm like, well, did you check the stuff before you left?
I only realized.
And you're like, no. And then I'm like, Ben, well, that was dumb. And then I got mad at you for like 5 seconds.
You got mad at me for that?
Yeah, for not checking before you left.
I thought you were just mad at them.
Well, both. But
well, no, like, how did I know they forgot a bunch of the food? Until I got home and opened it up and saw they forgot the food.
But you're supposed to check before you leave.
I'm not going to open up 10 containers to make sure they're...
Well, just, like, take a quick check. Anyways, so, like, I was annoyed and frustrated, like anyone would be in that situation.
That's pretty unreasonable.
But like that's a really good example of like the small little things we'll bicker about. I got annoyed for like 5 seconds. I'm like, well, you should have checked. And you're like, well, I didn't know. And then you went back and got the rest of the food. But yeah, that's what we fight about.
What a terrible fight. I don't know if we're going to be able to recover from this.
No name calling.
Next round from Aaron B. My assumption is that Cristine likes talking during movies and TV shows, much to the annoyance of Ben. Do I annoy you? I really am annoyed by people who do this. I don't think Cristine is an offender in this case.
Thank you.
Is that true? You don't really talk during movies. No,
but I talk about them when you don't care, like Grey's Anatomy.
Oh yeah, that's a. But here's the thing: I'm willing to let you sort of talk about Grey's Anatomy, and I'll just tune it out and pretend I'm paying attention to what you're saying.
Oh, so that's what you're doing.
I will say there was maybe one example of this though, like if I'm playing a video game or something. I think you just assume like video games are like kind of dumb fun, but a lot of video games now are like more cinematic, like experiences, like you have to follow the story. I was playing a game once, and it's like this very, what's that, like the climax. It's a very emotional moment. Like it's a serious thing. It's like the culmination of the story. Cristine comes in and goes like, what's that guy doing? Like, that's stupid. Why is he using like a bow and arrow? Like, and just like asking all these like really dumb questions. I'm like, please just you don't have to you don't have to understand the things I like and enjoy, you know?
I was annoying. But I was kind of doing it on purpose, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's great. That's great when your partner enjoys annoying you.
What else are we going to do in quarantine, Ben?
All right, from Rito River Threads. I assume that Ben wears socks with sandals, and Cristine has given up trying to stop him.
No sandals, just socks today.
I've been known to. I don't really see the issue with wearing socks and sandals. Do you?
I mean, I see it is an issue if you go outside, because then you're just going to get wet socks.
Wet? Why would they get wet?
Because the water, rain, snow.
Well, in the winter.
Well, in the spring.
I don't see the big issue with socks and sandals. And like, I'm not trying to impress anybody. You think I care if people... We should just leave it at that.
I wear slippers. Does that impress you?
Yeah. Next one from Cassie. I assume you guys secretly got married years ago, but say you don't care about marriage, so you don't wear rings or anything that shows you're married.
I think it's interesting that people wish this to be the case. Because I've seen this comment elsewhere, like when I've said, oh, we're not married or we're whatever, people are like, that's probably because you secretly got married. I'm like, what? Why?
If we did want to get married, I think we would be inclined to do it in secret, though, and just.
But I can't keep anything a secret.
You can't?
No, it's like with Holo Taco or the Oats. I was constantly just like giving sneak peeks.
But you know what I mean? If we did care about it, it's not about showing off a ring. It's not about having some giant display of party thing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like I've been to weddings where it seems like it's more about like the family than the two people getting married.
For sure.
I always find that super bizarre. You know,
I would never get married for my family. Sorry.
I find weddings in general pretty strange, to be honest.
It's
like maybe it's a nice opportunity to get together with people you care about.
But you could do that for any reason.
Mm-hmm. But people don't do that for any reason.
Except now.
They're
looking. You can't do that for any reason. Don't do that for any reason.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You can say you can do it for any reason, but people aren't just doing that for any reason.
I understand.
Right?
Yeah. But I'm not going to like do that and have a contract and join, like, just for the sake of my family having dinner. Like, it's weird.
I really just wanted to have dinner with you guys, so we got married.
Yeah, we've answered this before in other podcasts. I'll put an info card as to why we don't care. But truly though, like, I do not care about the legal status saying married. It doesn't change our lives. We also live in Canada. There's common law, whatever. So it is a bit different, but we still are seen as partners in life in the form of, you know, taxes and healthcare and those things. And the main things that matter from a logistical perspective. Mm-hmm. For that reason, I can appreciate and understand why some people would marry.
Sure.
Absolutely. I see that as making sense. It's just not really necessary in our cases. And it's just not necessary for me on an emotional, spiritual level. I don't care. Like, we're happy together.
Yeah.
Ring or no ring. But no ring.
But no ring.
Because I got nails. And they're the focus.
All right, next one from Megan Gabriel 14. I assume Ben wanted to get married and have kids before dating Cristine. And she made him realize you don't actually have to do that to have a good, healthy, loving family. I don't think...
Tell us, Ben.
I don't think you necessarily showed me that. I think I am just a more easygoing person. And that if, like, you had cared about marriage, I would have been okay with getting married. So
there's no part of you that grew up thinking you'd have a lovely wife one day?
No, it's more important to me that I wanted to have a partner that I was happy with. A partner in life, partner in crime, you know? Mm. But to be married to them never mattered to me. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm just the more laid back, like, if you... Obviously, you don't care about marriage... So I don't care about marriage. But if you had cared about marriage, I would have proposed to you like 7 years ago.
Aww. Aww. Thank you for your hypothetical proposal.
What's on my other hand? It's a ring.
Yep, everyone made that joke,
Yeah.
and that would have been hilarious
That would
if
have
I
been a good way of
wanted
doing
like
it.
a viral YouTube video with lots of views. He proposed, the ring was on my other
Sponsored
hand.
by this engagement company. Next one from Allison Bean. I assume that Ben watches way more YouTube than Cristine, based on his surprising knowledge of so many YouTubers.
Is that true?
So I don't want to answer for you, but I think we both watch a lot of YouTube. But what I'll say is I think you watch content about things you are interested in, whatever that topic may be at the time. And I think I watch more YouTube content about YouTube, whether that's like podcasts with interviews of YouTubers or just like DeFranco show, which might cover stories involving YouTubers. I think I'm very inclined to watch content like that. Whereas when you're into fitness, you just watch a lot of fitness YouTubers. Or I've walked in on you lately in your office and you have like the 2-hour long unedited police interview of some woman who killed her family. I'm like, this is what you're watching?
You're exposing me.
Exposed.
There's this channel, I think it's called like JSC Criminal Psychology. I don't know, like something like that. And I've watched every single episode that they put out, and it's like an hour to 2 hour long episodes of a narrator just talking about a case. And the case is presented pretty like straightforward. It's not fully edited. It's just like live, well, not live, but pre-recorded interviews of the suspect, like from the police station. Yeah. And I just really enjoy that.
No, I mean, you're not alone. True crime is a huge popular topic.
But I don't watch true crime presented by someone in like a salacious way with a clickbait title, thumbnail, that like I'm actually not into that at all. Okay. I prefer to watch from the criminal psychology standpoint, where they just kind of like give you the highlights of like what the investigator is doing and why, just show exactly what happened in the court without like really commenting on like he should have been guilty. Like I don't want that stuff.
That's an interesting conversation. I'm not sure if people are interested in this. We could do like a true crime podcast potentially, but
if we did that, would we not just be proving my point? Like I don't like using that topic as click me, hear about crime, ooh, scary. Like I actually don't like that.
It's not just that. I hear what you're saying. For me, it's the victims. It's the family of the victims. I always think like, what would they think listening to this podcast, right? Because some of them are pretty. Like, I understand there's a reason to like get into the details, but you're right. When it's just like this salacious, like, listen to the details of how someone was like brutally murdered. Like, what is.
Or about how someone, quote unquote, got away with it, right? So there's a lot of true crime stories about Casey Anthony, and people will talk about how she got away with it and how that happened and her partying. And I think that like all of that is just not helpful to the victim. Well, it was her kid, but the family surrounding that in that case, like they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. Like I just think it's not good.
Yeah. I don't know. The idea of people profiting off of telling stories of other people's misfortune and victimization, there is a conversation worth having about that. And some of the most high profile true crime series or podcasts, I think, have creatively framed the cases in a way that clearly serves them being a more interesting narrative, even if it's not exactly accurate, right? And I don't want to... this is true of a lot of them, like Making a Murderer left out a ton of stuff to make the guy who was, I guess, falsely accused seem more sympathetic, but like left out like serious allegations against him with... Anyway, I don't want to get into it too much.
No,
but
you're
like,
right. You can kind of craft the story yourself and leave things out. If you're right. So, okay, how do we get here?
Oh, Cristine watches interviews of criminals on YouTube.
I think I would agree that Ben watches more YouTube than me in general, but it's because I'm watching content that isn't really about YouTubers and trends. It's more like just for me. Like, for example, when quarantine hit, I watched a lot of at-home workout ideas. Yeah. And that's watching for me, not for YouTube research, I guess, let's say.
Sure.
That I used to do a lot more of.
Yeah. I would say a lot of the work you do, too, at home is not work you can watch a YouTube video at the same time as, right? Like, if you're editing a video, you can't also be watching a YouTube. If I'm working on some, like, paperwork or replying to emails, I can just have a podcast on while I'm doing that, I guess.
So I do have, I watch stuff while I'm swatching.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or while I'm editing holo taco videos that don't have audio. So that's where I'll throw on YouTube videos, and that's where I've been listening to the crime stories,
Crime
actually.
stuff. If you have any good crime recommendations for
Yeah,
Cristine,
please
drop
leave them
in
down
the comments.
below. I love them in a YouTube format. I guess I'm just so used to throwing stuff up on YouTube, and I'm a little bit visual. I like to watch, even if it's passively. But I prefer not the more sensationalized version of it. Like, I like the more objective, like the narrator's barely there kind of thing.
Gotcha. All right, next one from Sabotorao. I assume you don't like a lot of other YouTube creators. Oh, you just have a sip of your tea, delay answering the question.
I'll let you answer this one, Ben.
I don't know what to say. Like, people who become famous on YouTube, I think a lot of them don't go into it thinking they will be role models. And I think it's kind of unfair to just tell people you have to be a good influence. Like, you have to be a role model. You don't have to be like an advocate for education or whatever cause matters, right? But I think we find it frustrating, and maybe more so than the average person, when we realize like what a privileged position it is to have a platform like this. When people are such shitty people and bad influences, or complain about how hard their lives are when they're like scamming their young impressionable followers out of money, like, yeah, that there are too many examples of YouTubers who do that. And even some with like really great reputations who otherwise seem like nice people who give away cars to people, but then they sell their followers like puzzles that are just lottery tickets and make millions of dollars off of their young impressionable fans that way. Like, it's really disappointing every time we see a story like that.
And then there's people just personality-wise that I think it's kind of obvious why we wouldn't get along with them, even if we were just like in real life. Like, if you were in high school with some of the top YouTubers and no one was a YouTuber, would you be friends with them? And I think the answer for me a lot of the time is no. Not because I like hate them or something. It's just because personality wise, they have different interests than I do. There are a lot of YouTubers that really enjoy like the vanity aspects of it, that like to show off all their cars, that are all about wealth and flaunting it. And that is probably the polar opposite of my personality. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate like business and making money, obviously. I just think there's a very big difference there. And I also think some of this is cultural. So where you grow up and who you are friends with like totally changes your perspective of other people. So we grew up in Canada where like I don't know anyone famous. And like, yeah, there's rich people who went to my high school, but nothing like compared to when we go to LA and see the people who interact. So when we've gone to LA for YouTube related events, there's a bunch of different personalities that are all very big, all very, think people are interested in them. They want to be the center of attention. And that's not to be interpreted as like a negative thing. That's just part of their business. That is what they do. Literally, like the attention is on them and it's monetized. That's what they do. While I do that, I'm not totally comfortable doing that all the time. Like, it makes me feel weird.
Well, are you just projecting your insecurities onto these people, or?
It's not that. It's just, as a personality thing, I find it hard to click with people who enjoy that to that extent. It's not a judgment thing. It's just like, if we were in high school, like, would we be friends is kind of the way I look at it. And it's like, probably not. And it's because I'm the loner, maybe. Like, I'm the one who doesn't want to be seen of the whole group. And I find it hard to relate, honestly, with a lot of the other YouTubers sometimes, because I'm not doing what they're doing. I don't have an agent. I'm not getting put on TV shows. I'm not doing interviews, like,
And you're not
promoting
looking for
things.
those opportunities.
I'm also not looking for those opportunities. I'm not getting Botox. I'm not otherwise altering my appearance. And I think as a woman, that is a huge thing that can divide women into like friend groups. So that's something that you see in high school too. There's like the pretty popular girls, like as a cliche clique, but it does happen. And then the girls who like maybe don't care so much about wearing makeup to school. And I would be in that latter group.
Yeah, I will say, when we've gone to YouTube events in LA or New York or wherever, sometimes I'm expecting to like really dislike someone. and they'll turn out to be just like a super grounded person who's down to earth and easy to have a conversation with. So I'm a little I'm a little more reluctant these days to just judge someone I haven't actually met. But at the same time, there have been many examples of us meeting people at these events where their first inclination is to talk about like their numbers. My social blade looks great. And like clearly just how much they love themselves and how they want to be famous. And those are the people where like we just immediately sort of know like we would not be friends with that person, right?
Yeah, even though it might be a good business opportunity to have been friends with them and collabed, like I don't collab with people. And we had a whole podcast on collabs, actually, if you're interested in hearing more of the behind the scenes. But I just want to reiterate Ben's other point, which was that sometimes you judge someone because you see one video about them and you think like, oh my God, what a self-absorbed asshole. But I have actually met some of these people and they are not always like that. So I really do want to point that out too, that this isn't just like an assumption I make based on someone's picture. I want to meet someone, and I have absolutely met some really great people that you might think just from watching one video that they must be one of those self-absorbed people, but like that's not true in my experience. And I've become, you know, friends or like friendly, let's say, with some people that I thought maybe I wouldn't have.
Yeah, but if someone's like, I don't think just because someone is not that in person means it's like totally forgivable if they are projecting that sort of stuff online too at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. Next person asks, I assume you secretly think that YouTube has changed you despite not wanting it to.
I think I can summarize this as anyone who somewhat unexpectedly became famous on the internet is going to change as a result of just, having millions of eyes on you, commenting about your maybe flaws that you maybe feel insecure about, whether it's true or not. That will change your perception of yourself and the way you choose to behave in the future. So in the beginning of my videos, maybe I was just like, didn't really care or think too much about what I was saying. But then I realized so many more people were watching, and all of a sudden you feel more pressure on you to not say something stupid or wrong or that can be misconstrued or whatever, or a bad joke, or be like, if you're just not funny, like you want to be funny, you want to be well received. So there's all this pressure on you to maintain that. And I think that kind of messes with you no matter who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair to say. And also just like, how long have you been doing this now?
6 years.
Yeah.
2014.
So like, you have just changed in the last 6 years as a person, and it's really hard to say how much of that is because of something you spend a lot of time doing or not, right? So
I was 26 when I started. Now I'm 32. So YouTube or not, like you change a lot from 26 to 32.
Actually, you know, that's an interesting point though. I can't remember where I heard this. I heard some interview of someone's theory of why celebrities are so screwed up, and they argued that you can recognize in some celebrities that mentally they seem to like stay at the age at which they got famous.
I've heard that too.
Have you heard this?
I think that's really interesting. Is that why I still act like I'm 26?
Well, honestly, sometimes...
Or no, I'm like 13.
I'm not saying I'm famous. I mean, like, you are somewhat internet famous, and as a result, I have a little bit of internet fame, I guess. But yeah, sometimes I catch myself being like, am I acting immature? And maybe I'm just kind of still acting like a 26-year-old, even though I'm 30... what am I, 30? How old am I?
30.
I'm turning 33 very soon. Yeah. But like, I think that explains why you see like older celebrities who are like trying to hold on to their youth so desperately. But it also really explains why you see like very young celebrities that are super screwed up because so much of their self-worth and what made them famous is tied up in something they literally cannot hold on to as well, right?
Yeah, and they're trying to grow up and evolve, and it's just, and you do the most growing up and evolution between like, 16 and 22, let's say.
So if you're famous and everything reinforced to you is like, you can make a bunch of money and people will love you for that thing you did when you were 19 years old. I think it really, it really messes with you to age out of that.
And it's really easy for an audience who's not participating in this world of living their life online to not realize that, and to, make judgments or comments like, I miss the old Simply, right?
That's right.
I mean, that I don't actually get that often.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. But I see that nature of comment on so many other people's platforms, and like, it's really sad because I can understand sometimes where it's coming from if it appears like that person has just become a bad person. Maybe they've, in your opinion, become more vain or obsessed with things that they wouldn't have otherwise if they didn't have money. That there's an argument I can see for that. But if it's not like that, they might just be getting older and they might just be changing their hobbies naturally as they normally would.
Yeah, and you should let people grow and just find a new person to fill that place in your life if you just miss their old YouTube content.
Or
right?
just watch their old YouTube content.
Just on a loop. Okay, from Okra Bottom Jeans with the boots and the
Apple
fur.
bottom jeans. Sorry.
They assume you drink other beverages besides tea and water.
Incorrect.
Not true.
Not true. You assumed wrong.
We drank a margarita last night.
Oh yeah, I like.
Got lit.
That's like one time.
Like one drink.
It came with the tacos. Well, they gave it to you because your order.
That was
they
their
screwed it up.
apology for messing up the order. It was tasty.
It was good.
A little tequila. Next one from Tanya Luz. I assume you guys have secret social media accounts that you use to navigate the internet in peace.
I use my main accounts
True or
to look.
You just do whatever.
I just do it on my main account.
You're not worried about accidentally liking or following someone?
I mean, occasionally if I'm like lurking some drama through Twitter or something, I think I've accidentally liked someone's reply. And I'm just like, okay, it's not what I mean to do. But I don't have a personal account. Like if that's your question.
Yeah, or like a burner account. I definitely know famous internet people who do.
Yeah.
And you see this a lot with celebrities, particularly athletes, I think. And the funniest thing, and I think the reason it's not worth it, well, it depends how you're going to use it. If you're just using it to like have some anonymity and participate in a community of people around a hobby and you don't want them to think you are this famous person, I get that.
I can get that.
But what you see is like some like athletes will create burner accounts and they'll like go on Twitter after a game and argue with people who criticize them for how they played in that game.
Well, that just tells me they need to talk to someone about their insecurities.
It's kind of insane, right?
Yeah.
And you think like these guys making hundreds of millions of dollars,
They have the time
they have
to
such
do that.
fragile egos that they need to get on Twitter and yell at like some loser drunk guy in a bar who thinks he didn't score enough points and throw the ball through the hoop enough. All right, next one from Mymex. I assume you have an entire room full of mail. Otherwise, I don't know where you put all that stuff.
We actually have an entire bathroom full of mail.
Yeah, like a tub.
A tub.
Yeah.
No, it's a shower. A full shower full of mail. And it's blocking the toilet too.
Yeah, we should address this though. So how much of a story do I want to tell about this? You had a P.O. box for a long time. And we were really friendly with the people who worked there. They would hold on to the mail for us and everything. And they didn't mind when things exploded and glitter went everywhere. And they were very nice.
Yeah.
And we appreciated that. That location shut down.
This is like a year and a half ago, yeah.
More than that. I
Maybe
think
2 years.
maybe 3 years even.
Was it?
It's been a while.
I'm losing track of time.
I know. But we had to go to this new P.O. box location. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they
don't
love it as much.
They don't love the glitter.
Yeah. And well, not just that. Like, I didn't realize this for a while, but if I wasn't going and getting it enough, they were sending stuff back to people. And that was happening without us knowing for a while.
And I just want to apologize to anyone that sent SimplyPodLogical mail in the last, I guess, 2 years. And if you got a notice that it was coming back, I really apologize. We did not even realize for the longest time that that's why. And then COVID hit, and I'm sure you can understand that we weren't regularly wanting to go to the post office to pick up mail just so they didn't send it back. So that's also why.
We've also sort of, like, we've tried to make it harder to even find the P.O. box address. Like, it's not listed on the About page and stuff.
I stopped promoting it, and it's not on the main Not Logical channel info page. And it has been a year since the last time I've posted a Simply Mailogical video, which I know you guys like. And I mean, maybe we would have done another one, but once COVID hit, I was like, it's not a good idea to make that video because then it reminds people the P.O. box exists and they might choose to send mail. And I just think now is not the best time.
Yeah. So I guess we're just asking, we did really appreciate, I know you got a lot of enjoyment over the years. You really
loved making those videos, even though I was sitting there for like 5 hours, like sweating, opening mail, but it was great.
But I guess we should just ask that, like, people just, if you find that address, don't send stuff. You can tweet at Cristine.
Hey, if you're an artist and you want to send me a picture, take a picture of it and send it to me. Tweet it at me or post it on your Instagram and tag me, not with a hashtag, but from the actual, like, click the photo and tag Simply Mailogical, because I do look and I love seeing your guys' art. I just think sending stuff to me right now is probably not the best idea. And again, I'm really sorry if you sent me something, if you worked on something really hard and it was sent back, because
we feel bad about that.
It's our fault. And sucks, I feel like an asshole, but thank you for caring enough to want to send me letters.
All right, next one from Tawny Kellogg. I assumed you sometimes wish you didn't get famous. How did DeFranco put this when we were on his pod? Would you rather be
rich or famous?
Rich or famous, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were both like...
Rich?
I'll take rich, please.
Because I never in my life, everyone wants to be rich, I think. Like, who would say no to that question? If that was the only question in the only context, you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But not everyone wants to be famous. That's a whole other question. And if you just asked me like 10 years ago, do you want to be famous? I'd be like, no.
Or a lot of people would answer yes, because they assume it comes
with fame,
riches and opportunities, right?
But if you ask the question alone, do you want to be famous, like, for whatever reason? My answer is absolutely no. But I don't want to say that without the added context of that doesn't mean I'm not grateful for what has happened to my life. I don't want you guys to think I'm just like, I wish this wasn't my life, because that would be really obnoxious, wouldn't it? Am I the personality type that enjoys all the attention? Like, not really. But I enjoy that I make you guys happy and that you know.
You enjoy making content.
I enjoy making content, and I enjoy your positive reactions to the content. So part of that is...
You're making content not in a vacuum too, right? Like, when people create things, they're creating them to be consumed by people. So
you're right. For sure. Yeah. But I don't wish that I didn't get famous. Like, I'm happy, I guess.
It's also hard to know, like, when people aren't paying attention to your tweets anymore, like, what that would feel like too. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to even answer the question because you have a certain level of fame now.
Like, will I miss it?
Yeah. We have no idea.
Know. I feel like even if, Simply Mailogical kind of fades, let's say, I'm still going to be on Twitter or Snapchat, just like sharing my cats or my tea or my oats or something.
Tweeting to yourself.
Yeah. And there's going to be, I hope you guys stick around. See you in 10 years on Twitter.
Cristine will just be streaming
I'll be streaming games to like 100 people.
All right, let's try to knock out a few more. From Murray 2, I assume you guys eat healthy all the time, but what are your go-to cheat foods?
Oats.
Do we eat healthy all the time? We eat pretty. Oh, did you say oats? That's your cheat meal? That's healthy. Oats are nutritious and delicious.
Yeah, but they taste like a cheat meal. I don't care about cheat meals. I guess that's not how my brain works. I eat healthy food, but I actually eat a lot of food. So I don't think people realize that. It's not like I'm eating like a tiny salad for lunch or something and like restricting myself. Sure. I eat a ton of food because, well, I need to for the weightlifting and all the exercise that I want to do. And it just makes me feel better to have substantial portions of food.
But you don't have like, once in a while, I'm going to let myself eat a bunch of donuts or something. You don't
Honestly,
have foods like
after eating healthy for years, I don't even really necessarily crave it. Like, I'm not like waiting until that McDonald's meal. Like, I'm kind of like grossed out by it now. That being said, we do on a weekly basis order a takeout meal from like a semi-nice restaurant that maybe it's not the healthiest, but it's also not like trash junk food. It's
You're
just like
right.
a nice meal, but maybe all the vegetables were cooked in a bunch of butter, or maybe there's fries on the side or something like that.
Yeah, and this is maybe a really I think this is a healthy way of looking at it, because it's not like we're depriving ourselves and then once a week we let ourselves binge on McDonald's or something. But it's about, we're not depriving ourselves at all, really, but we just tend to eat fairly clean. And then once in a while, we'll eat something and not worry too much about whether it's the healthiest thing ever.
Like
either.
last night, I ate churros and key lime pie for dessert
Yeah.
after the
A
tacos.
couple dessert courses.
I had 2 desserts last night. It was so good.
Yeah, that's good. All right, from Sarah. I assume that most of the time Ben is the one trying to convince Cristine to try new things such as food, drinks, shows, and Cristine usually doesn't want to, but will eventually try it. On the food thing, this is definitely true. I'm way more adventurous when it comes to wanting to try different kinds and food cultures, let's say. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm boring. I have a boring palate.
You've gotten better. I'm not sure if it applies to things like shows and stuff, where we're good about just, we'll throw on whatever on Netflix and stuff. We have a similar taste in entertainment, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next one from Witch Bitch. I assume
Witch
Cristine
Bitch.
calls Ben daddy. Please don't block me.
What?
I don't think you've ever called me
What?
daddy. Are we gonna have to block Witch Bitch here?
Then she calls you daddy.
You
Not
call
me.
you call me Banana Man though.
I call you Ban. That's about it.
From Morton Hansen, I assume Cristine looks like she snores, and Ben is the person who doesn't move when sleeping, and he wakes up the same as he fell asleep in.
Do I snore, Ben?
So Cristine does not snore.
Uh-huh.
Do I snore?
No.
Okay. But Cristine has, what's the term? Night terrors? You have...
What?
Cristine, you have nightmares. You know
Yeah.
this. Sometimes Cristine will wake up in the middle of the night, like, not screaming.
out.
It's more of like a whimper.
Do I scream Ban?
You don't usually talk. That would be more interesting if you talked.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just wake up at 3 a.m. and Christine's go, ah,
No.
no. And like, sometimes
Oh my
I'll just
God.
like need to like put a hand on like you and you'll stop. And sometimes you'll wake up and we'll like look at each other briefly and just go right back
I'll
to
just look
sleep.
at you and be like, what? And I'll go back to bed. Like you interrupted me.
Do you remember what you're dreaming about when that happens?
Nope.
Oh, that's good.
Just being terrorized in the middle of the night. It's fine.
That's healthy. Okay, from Morgan Lee. I assume that in the beginning it was genuine, but nowadays whenever you scream for Ben, he's actually like 8 feet away out of frame waiting for his cue.
Let's tell him, Ben. Spill the tea.
I won't lie. This has happened a few times. But
Yeah.
okay, I think what's most common is you will yell for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't hear you, you'll text me and be like,
Can you come
can
downstairs?
you come downstairs? Yeah. But sometimes
Yeah.
I will just legitimately hear you yelling from the basement and I'll know like, oh, okay. Like I know you're filming down there. I hear
Yeah.
you. I know you went down. I help you set up the camera when you first start filming.
Right. Like he
So I'm
knows
kind of
he knows
expecting
what's
it.
going on. But like when I was filming the oats video in the kitchen, you were right beside and at the couch in the living room. So
Yeah.
you knew you were literally 8 feet out of frame.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you like slid in.
From Hey, it's Everett. I assume Ben is a little threatened by Matt's brain.
Your brother.
Your brother.
Are you? Are you smarter than a Matt?
Matt is smarter than me. My mother once told me, she goes, no offense, Ben, but I think Matt is the smartest kid.
What did you say? Aw.
I think it's true.
You were just like,
That's
yeah.
a pretty weird thing to tell your other
Aw.
But
You're all smart.
I wonder if people noticed, like, when I was talking across from him, I was maybe deferring to him more. One, because I think he's just way more educated on the topic
Right,
than me.
yeah, that makes
But maybe it's just like a big brother, little brother thing that I just sort of assume he knows more and he does know more than me about a lot. He is a very smart guy. I don't think I'm threatened by it necessarily, but
Yeah, you can accept that someone has more knowledge than you about a particular topic and not be threatened.
yeah.
Right? Wow.
Just don't like
wow.
admitting people are smarter than me,
No.
you know, because I don't often meet people smarter than me.
Oh, shush. Now you need to clarify you're being sarcastic.
Kind of. From Pajama Ladies Crazy Crafts. I assume you are going to release a nail polish collection soon. Am I right? If so, I think everybody's wondering when.
You assume, bless you.
Sorry.
You assume correctly. We are going to release a nail polish collection.
Yeah. How many?
We're going to release many nail polish collections.
One is coming pretty soon, though.
Yes.
Potentially, put your hand down.
It's coming in your dreams.
Are we what can we say?
A few weeks away.
How long is the month of February?
I think it's a short month.
What's the set? Okay.
I can't remember.
All right.
But
pretty soon.
Yeah, we're working on it. Thank you guys for your patience, but
Soon.
I'm very excited for the next one.
All right, and last one. I assume that Ben enjoys the podcast more than Cristine because he gets to have an intelligent discussion, and Cristine prefers making videos.
Am I not having an intelligent discussion?
I think you're a very intelligent, conversational person. Well, I think, okay, what do you like more? Do you like filming Simply videos, or do you like the balance of the two?
I mean, I think they're both very different, obviously. I think I prefer the workload of the podcast because we film it just once. We film this podcast once. We only say all these things once, and then we edit it, like barely edit it.
Like watch it one time.
Like watch it, add some videos or, overlay of something if we need to, or color correct. Basically, that's all I do. But for a Simply video, it takes a lot longer to film. It takes a lot longer to prepare. I need to have some kind of outline for what I'm going to do. Maybe there's some props. There's a waiting period for whatever reason if I'm testing something, and then I got to edit it and make it funny. So.
And editing is it's watching just yourself.
Yeah.
And watching yourself over and over again, whereas on the podcast you can just like watch it one way through, right?
Yeah, and in the podcast it's a conversation, so it's not just about me talking to the camera. It's like, what did the conversation include? But with Simply, it is literally just me. So yeah, I get kind of annoyed with watching myself, and now I understand why Ben is annoyed with me in life sometimes.
But no, I guess the truth is it's been almost a year since you sort of came out and acknowledged you were sort of struggling to like post main channel videos, right? That was about a year ago, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't want to speak for you, but you're clearly in a healthier place mentally, I think, when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think reducing the amount of Simply videos I post was not only like the only option to exist, but it has helped me. And instead I get to do this, so we're still on the internet just as frequently, still giving you guys some content, but it's different, and I appreciate that you guys like it and you want to listen and you're excited to come back for every Taco Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Single
you
Taco
must
Tuesday.
Listen every
No, but you can, the beauty of it is you can listen whenever.
No, you have to listen on Tuesday. All right, apologies to Samantha Ravendal.
Is that how you pronounce it? Are you sure?
I'm not sure. But, congratulations. She just released, she's a Canadian beauty guru, just released her own makeup line.
See, Ben watches that much YouTube.
That's how much
he knows.
I always feel a little bit of pride when I see another Canadian YouTuber succeeding in that space. Congratulations, Sam.
Yes, congrats.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Taco Tuesday.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
I hope that clears up all the assumptions you guys have about us.
Yeah, that's all there is to say. Make sure you RSVP for the next Taco Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching.
And we'll see y'all later. Bye. Bye.